let's start with mains discussion. Okay, so this is the first editorial of the day. Trump's Ukraine peace plan is audacious and India has a stake in its success. Okay, this has come here by mistake. This is not the part. Okay, we will focus on C. Raja Mohan has written this article in Indian Express, and what if you can see, UPSC has been asking questions on the wars and the geopolitical arena of the international relation. Now, coming to this, Trump's Middle East outreach and his bold Ukraine peace plan together signals a disruptive US geopolitical shift with major implications in India. Why is it disruptive US geopolitical shift? Because it will change the relation with US and European country. Okay, it will change the dynamics of NATO, particularly with respect to Eastern Europe. Okay, the dynamics that goes on with US and China will change, will be shifting. This will also impact with respect to US, Russia and India. Okay, India and Russia together are codependent, particularly for India is very much dependent on Russia for defense purposes. Still around 65 to 70% of India's defense product come from Russia, and India and EU, India and US are codependent, particularly for Indo-Pacific arena. Okay. Now, keeping this as the base, let's see the editorial. Now, why Trump's Ukraine peace plan matters? UN proposes ending war quickly through negotiations contrary to long-term military strategy backed by NATO. Okay. He argues that prolonged conflict drains Western resources and weakens the US strategic focus on China. Okay, again the tariff war and everything will come in focus. The plan signal a possible reset of EU-Russia relation. Okay, so the whole era of Cold War seem to vanish if it actually happens. Okay, now both Russia and US are trying to hide their cards. Okay, if you see from the US perspective, okay, sorry, Europe's perspective, Europe's strategic concern mainly with respect to Eastern Europe, I already said. Many European capitals fear Trump's approach may weaken NATO. Okay, if NATO becomes weak, then this will have a significant impact on the Eastern Europe. Okay, and post-war Europe security architecture may shift away from Russia's exclusion framework. Okay, they have excluded Russia from their military and defense framework. So, that might also change. Now, coming on to Russia's calculations, Moscow seek to secure territorial control in eastern Ukraine, and the territorial control over eastern Ukraine is a possibility that Donald Trump may give. Okay, Russia benefit from the division within the West and prefer negotiation for a long term attrition. Okay, any US driven peace plan could force Kiev, this is Kiev, IV, okay, accept the territorial compromises. So, this is the plan that Russia is working on. Russia knows if this can happen, this will mostly happen with Trump in the White House. This will be difficult going forward. Now, Trump Ukraine peace plan has a tripartite issue with, particularly issue with India. Okay, India has the high stakes interests are shaped by these three strategic dependence. What are the three strategic dependence? Defense partnership with Russia, as I already told you. Okay, strategic partnership with US, already discussed about the Indo-Pacific Quad technology collaboration, counter China strategy, and the third one is need to reduce the greater power polarization. This is a very important point. India wants to reduce the great power polarization. Okay. So, US, who is looking for a world hegemony, to continue its world hegemonic power. Okay. China has a middle kingdom syndrome. If you don't know what is middle kingdom syndrome, go and Google it, please. Okay. India benefits when Moscow and Washington are not locked in zero sum rivalry. Now, what is zero sum rivalry? Zero sum rivalry is when you think that there is a balance, there is a seesaw. Okay. It works only 50-50, and anything that this gains is a loss for the other party. Okay. That is zero sum rivalry, that thaws India's maintained strategic autonomy without choosing a side. Coming on to the next editorial of the day. As we discussed in the opening blog itself, that today is the Constitution Day of India. So, today our speaker Om Birla has written a piece. Okay. Our Om Birla has written a piece, and he has talked about Viksit Bharat, and he has said that from granting universal adult franchise was a very progressive step with respect to India. When India gave universal adult franchise in 1950, it was considered a very bold step. Okay. And then it has a progressive judicial interpretation of the constitution and the rights that has that has fostered inclusivity, empowered the downtrodden, marginalized community, and promoted gender equality. So, all these factors he has written about. So, in this part we will just see the basics of the constitution. We will just more of revise the basic of constitution. Let us see. Now, with respect to constitution has been a recurring theme in mains. Constitution, constitutional morality, constitutionalism, concept of constitution and its related themes have been a favorite topic of UPSC, both in prelims and both in mains. Okay. So, these are the questions that has already been asked. You can look through it. So, there are certain articles, more articles there. Now, with respect to constitution, India's constitution offers progressive blueprint for rights and governance on the path of development. Now, if you see what are they, so these are the historical background, how the constitution have evolved through the British period. Okay. Now, if you see, we generally start the acts from 1773 and not before that. But if you see, actually the British East India Company used to have their own laws, their own Charter Act even before 1773. But after 1773, they became a de facto ruler because of 1765 Treaty of Allahabad. That is why we start reading the modern Indian constitutional history from Regulating Act of 1773. Now, if you see the Regulating Act, initially they were centralizing all the powers. So, initially they were centralizing all the powers and then they started decentralizing. So, if you see in 1833, the centralization of power peaked. So, the centralization of power peaked and there is a process of decentralization that is going till now. Okay. 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, PESA, okay, Forest Right Act, everything is a process of decentralization, in a process of decentralization. So, you can go through the major points. Okay, this is 1987 and then Queen's Proclamation, what were the major issues. Okay. So, these are the static things that you generally read. Please go through the slides. These are self-explanatory, nothing much to explain here. Okay. This is put here just to let you know that these are the important aspect of the constitution, and this has been asked repeatedly in UPSC prelims. Now, coming on to the next topic of the day about the POSH Act. Okay. So, Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act. Now, there has been a flawed idea of consent that is used in this act. This is what this whole editorial is all about. Okay. Now, again, vulnerable section is the major UPSC question area, and these are the questions that has been asked. Now, coming on to the what's in news. A landmark 2013 law on sexual harassment required a clear institutional commitment. Okay. So, how? So, background and purpose of POSH Act. It was born out of Vishakha guideline of 1997 and enacted to prevent and sexual harassment at workplaces, mandates internal complaint committees at all establishment that has more than 10 employees, intended to ensure a safe and dignified workplace for all genders. Okay. Now, generally what we do that this environment is mainly for women, and when we talk about POSH Act, it's used in a very linear fashion where men harass women. Okay. But there are other aspects where men are bullied by men. Okay. Men bully women, women bully men, and women bully women. Now, after, so this is the primary thing that we consider when we talk of POSH Act, but after Puttaswamy judgment of 2018, this has to be expanded to LGBTQ community and also encounter for the mental health and mental harassment. Okay, the intangible aspect of POSH Act, the silent gaze that we talk about, okay, the references, the inappropriate references that we talk about can be considered in this. These are not included in the POSH Act. Okay, so what are the main provisions? It defines sexual harassment exactly. It defines what are the employer's duty, what about the internal complaint committee, how it will process, who will be the members, and the complaint and inquiry procedure and the penalties are mentioned. Now, the flawed concept of consent, it mainly talks of absence of no. The consent is often wrongly understood as absence of no. Okay, until unless you say no, it's not considered no. Okay, so the aspect of body language or gaze or the physical resistance is not considered until unless you utter the word no. But the real consent must be active, informed, and free from power imbalance. Power imbalance, because most of the POSH Act that is being implemented is in a scenario where a person in a position of power has actually violated the dignity of a person working under them. Many workplaces fail to grasp coercive consent, especially when hierarchical pressure exists. Article highlight the how the subtle and implied emotional manipulation remains outside the legal ambit. Okay, when the consent is judged through a narrow evidentiary standard, survivors are often disbelieved. Okay, the usual thing कि छोटी सी बात है और something like इसमें क्या हो गया, something of that sort. Okay, now the power imbalance and the problem with ICC functioning. Now, the internal complaint committee has an issue because the members who are part of internal complaint committee are not professional, or the are not all the genders are not adequately represented. Okay. Also, there are cases when the employers or the members of ICC have been working under someone. Okay. So, their post inquiry dynamics may change. Okay. So, there might be a financial loss or a loss of some projects or abrupt behavior. Okay. So, those are the issues. If you see, ICC often junior to accuse creating intimidation, dominant culture within the institute discourages complaint कि अरे आ जाओ बात करते हैं, कोई बात नहीं, उसके बाद काम खत्म. Survivor must contain working with the accused during the inquiry. This undermines the hierarchy. Okay. Now, the problem of subtle harassment. The problem of subtle harassment is mainly related to mental torture. Okay. The act is strong against the overt misconduct, but weak on the implicit behavior such as coercive mentoring, suggestive humor, digital manipulation, emotional abuses. Okay, survivor frequently face a gaslighting, retaliation, or a career sabotage when they complain. The absence of clear definition of subtle harassment allow the perpetrators to escape accountability. Okay, so there is a lack of inter institutional complaints, cross institutional collaborations in conferences, in student exchange programs or employees exchange program, in external research interpretations. These are not valid, and people generally end up blaming other for the responsibility, and they do not take up the responsibility themselves. Okay. So, POSH Act, this aspect already have been discussed. So, that is it for the POSH Act, and we come to the last editorial of the day. Coming to the last editorial of the day, okay, personality right in the age of AI. So, recently what happened, Abhishek Bachchan and Aishwarya Rai went to Delhi High Court and have filed a complaint that their private image have been sabotaged and mismanaged due to deep fake videos, due to abusive content, and due to AI generated photos. Okay. So, they went to Aishwarya Rai Bachchan and Abhishek filed a lawsuit, and they have filed a lawsuit against Google and YouTube. Now, first of all, what is personality right? Okay. What is personality right? In general, we don't read about personality right, or most of us don't know what is personality right. Refers to a person's exclusive right to control the commercial and social use of their name, image, voice, likeness, signature, gesture, etc. Okay, that is the personality right. Okay, now personality right in the world is defined in two major aspect. One is in Europe and other in USA. In Europe, it's about dignity. Okay, if you see the article itself mention about this. Okay, globally the personality right differs. Europe adopts a dignity based model and US adopts a property based one. Okay. Now, EU will adopt dignity based and US adopts a property based model, where in EU it's more about intangible things. This relates mainly towards the article 21 aspect of Indian constitution, and this is a property based, means do you want to commercialize your image, your statements, your photos, your videos. So, it is about the property rights in US. Okay. Do you want to commercialize it? Do you want to show up on the internet? Do you want to earn out of internet? Okay. So, this is the thing. But in India, both of them has been mixed and a hybrid model is used. And why this hybrid model is used? Why am I saying so? Is there any law? Is there anything written on the constitution? No. This is mainly through the judicial interpretations of various cases. Now, let us go to, okay. Now, this personality based right based question has been a agenda of government and also a favorite topic for UPSC. So, these are the mains question that has been asked for right based questions. Now, coming on to what is on the news. Okay, modern innovations like artificial intelligence bringing both opportunity and issue with personal right. Personality right encompasses individual, social contract, human identity, which excludes rights such as which include right as over one's image and voice. AI generated content blurs the line between authenticity and deception. India needs to enhance law explicitly defining regulation and personality rights. countries and international institutions have applied rules imposing different restrictions on content users. Now, so this is right to privacy and right to publicity. This is right to property, not publicity. Okay, currently these rights are shaped more by judicial ruling than legislations. Okay, now why is this debate has cropped up now? Because AI has hacked personality rights. AI enables deepfake video cloning, avatar creation and hyperreal simulations. Okay, AI generated likeness can be used for advertising, political propaganda, pornographic content too. Unlike earlier misuse, the AI enable scale, speed and seamlessness, making the old law inefficient. Now, digital replicas can be created without consent, causing reputation harm. Okay. Now, what are the judicial propositions? Delhi High Court in Amitabh Bachchan case said that recognized personality rights are protectable. So, taking cue from this right, in 2023, Bombay High Court gave Anil Kapoor that the misuse of his catchphrase "Jhakas," the misuse of Anil Kapoor's catchphrase "Jhakas" cannot be misused under inappropriate content. Similarly, in 2024, again Bombay High Court gave protection to Arijit Singh, okay, so that his voice cannot be regenerated using AI and deepfakes. However, the court rely only on amalgam of privacy and IP tort laws and constitutional right, and there is no such personality right yet in India. Okay. So, no single statute defines the personality right or protects AI generated misuse. So, this is a impending legislative topic that has to be taken care of by the Indian Parliament. Okay. Fragmented, they mainly rely on Article 21, passing of the laws, IT Act, misuse of IT Act, Consumer Protection and Copyright Act. So, there is no single property right act that defines property right and personality right and takes care of the personality right. Okay. So, AI and privacy leaks, privacy risks and their examples. Okay, unintentional bias, inaccurate predictions, data privacy breach, unforeseen consequences, job displacement. Okay. Now, global legal landscape. What is the global legal landscape? EU AI Act, as we discussed already, identified deepfake as high risk and require clear disclosure. California Celebrity Right Act provides 70 years post-mortem publicity right. Okay, China's deep synthesized regulation mandate consent and watermarking. US right for publicity laws varies by state, but they broadly protect image and likeness. Okay. So, why India need a dedicated personality right? Rapid adoption of AI. Okay, current IT rules are not enough. If you see further, emerging creator economy and intellectual property laws covers work and not identity. So, in India the law and the framework that already exist are incomplete. That is why we need a personality right legislation. Okay. So, that is it for the day guys. Thank you. Have a nice day.